Hey there, ready to dive deep?
Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad's Guide to Investing.
Oh, awesome.
But get this, we're not picking stocks.
Okay.
We're dissecting the mindset of the 90-10 investor elite.
Right.
You know those folks who seem to have a knack for building wealth almost effortlessly?
Yeah.
Kiyosaki noticed this intriguing pattern. In investing, like many fields, it's often a 90-10 split. 10% of the people control a whopping 90% of the wealth.
Right.
So what's their secret?
Yeah, what is it?
Is it just about being an accredited investor, swimming in cash?
Right?
Well, Kiyosaki says it's way more than that.
Okay.
It's about cultivating what he calls a sophisticated investor mindset, almost like rewiring your brain for a whole new financial reality.
I like that. Rewiring your brain.
Ready to get started? We're about to unlock the strategies of Kiyosaki's Rich Dad.
Okay.
And it all starts with the most crucial element.
Yeah.
Your mental blueprint.
Okay.
Rich Dad doesn't sugarcoat it. He says, building wealth starts in your mind with this powerful statement, money will be anything you want it to be.
Right.
That really made me pause and think about my own relationship with money, you know?
It's fascinating how that quote exposes the power of our beliefs.
Yeah.
If you view money as scarce, risky, or a constant struggle, guess what? It will be.
Right.
You're basically fulfilling your own prophecy.
Totally.
Think about the saying, it takes money to make money. Rich Dad completely dismantles this notion.
It's like we're almost programmed to buy into this scarcity mindset. Rich Dad talks about two different worlds of money. The world of not enough, where most people are stuck, and the world of abundance. So which one are you currently living in? It's a question worth pondering.
It is, yeah. And here's the real game changer. To join that 90-10 club, you need to master thinking on both sides of the coin simultaneously.
Both sides.
It's not about picking security or a risk, minimizing debt or leveraging it. It's about holding both of those seemingly opposite ideas in your mind at the same time. That's the mark of a sophisticated investor.
Let's be real. How many times have we heard the age-old advice, buy low, sell high? Seems simple enough, right?
Yeah, sure.
But Rich Dad argues that this approach turns most people into mere speculators, not true investors.
Exactly. Rich Dad's whole approach revolves around building businesses that BUY assets, not just individuals dabbling in the stock market. It's about shifting from being someone who BUYs into someone who builds.
He tells this amazing story about buying a really expensive piece of land. Even he thought, I can't afford this. But then it hit him, my business can afford this. That's when he realized the power of creating this separate entity, this money-making machine, as he calls it.
It's such a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Think about Bill Gates. He didn't just buy a ton of Microsoft stock early on. He created that investment. He became the source of the wealth, not just a participant in someone else's game.
This is getting me fired up. It's like discovering a whole new level of playing the game.
It is.
It's not just about picking stocks. It's about becoming the kind of person who spots, heck, even creates opportunities that most people completely miss.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, Rich Dad provides a roadmap for this transformation.
Okay.
He calls it the 5 phases of a sophisticated investor. It's a journey, not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
And it all begins with that mental preparation we were just talking about.
Absolutely. And phase 2 is where you figure out your unique investor type.
Okay.
So forget the one-size-fits-all approach. This is about crafting a personalized plan, not just chasing after some hot stock tip.
It's like you wouldn't even think about building a house without a blueprint, right?
Exactly.
But that's exactly what so many people do with their financial lives.
You nailed it. And that's why Rich Dad repeats this crucial message. Investing is a plan, not a product. Your personalized plan should include both a safety net and a path to building wealth, all tailored to you.
Okay, time for a dose of reality. Becoming wealthy, no matter how you define it, always comes at a cost.
Right.
Rich Dad humorously lays out some less than ideal options, like marrying for money,
Sure.
becoming a master thief, which he quickly dismisses, inheriting a fortune, which doesn't teach you the skills, or winning the lottery. A fool's game, he says.
He's a huge advocate for the path of financial intelligence,
Yeah.
which goes beyond simply being frugal.
Right.
It's about understanding there are different types of income earned, portfolio, and passive, and knowing how to convert that hard-earned cash into something that works harder for you.
That's where financial literacy comes in, right?
Absolutely.
He emphasizes that understanding those financial statements, like income statements and balance sheets, is like having X-ray vision into a company's financial health. It's about becoming a smarter, more informed investor.
And that path leads you to becoming what Rich Dad calls an inside investor. This isn't just someone with knowledge. They also have access to opportunities most people don't even know exist. They've got a seat at a very exclusive table.
This is where it gets really intriguing.
Okay.
Rich Dad shares a story about this Wall Street veteran named Frank. Frank was part of this inner circle, and through their talks, Rich Dad got a glimpse behind the curtain of the financial world, seeing a whole different game being played.
And that's the 90/10th principle in action. These insiders aren't just buying assets, they're often the ones creating them, structuring the deals, and benefiting from information that's simply not available to the public. They've got that insider advantage.
Wow, this is eye-opening. It's like we've been playing checkers while the real players are in another room entirely, playing chess on a whole different level. No wonder they say knowledge is power.
Totally. It's like they're playing a different game entirely with a whole different set of rules. And the best part is you can learn those rules too.
So how do we even begin to bridge that gap? Rich Dad talks about the importance of being on the inside, but how do you actually get there? I mean, not all of us can just casually chat with Wall Street titans.
He actually offers some really practical advice on this. It starts with understanding that there are different levels of investing. Most people are stuck on the outside, buying stocks and bonds based on news headlines or their financial advisors' recommendations. They're reacting to the market, not shaping it.
It's like the difference between being tossed around by a wave and actually surfing it, right?
Exactly.
But how do you become the one riding the wave, the one in control of your financial destiny?
It's about becoming what Rich Dad calls a sophisticated investor. Not just understanding the what of investing, but the why. It's about mastering what he calls the 10 investor controls.
10 investor controls.
He dives deep into these in the book.
Okay, that sounds a bit intimidating, to be honest. What exactly are we talking about here?
It might sound like a lot, but it's really about taking charge of your financial life from every angle. We're talking about mastering your expenses, understanding how to use tax advantages, timing your investments strategically. It's about making decisions with your head, not your emotions.
Okay, I see the bigger picture now.
Yeah.
It's not just about picking the right stock at the right time. It's about this holistic understanding of how money works and then using that knowledge to create opportunities, not just chase them.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. Rich Dad says that to become a sophisticated investor, you need to understand how to operate within all four quadrants of the cash flow quadrant. Remember that from his previous book?
Oh, right. The E, the S, the B, and the I quadrants. He's talking about the different ways people earn a living. Employees, self-employed folks, or small business owners, big-time business owners, and investors, right?
You got it.
Okay,
And many people, even if they're killing it in one quadrant, kind of get stuck there.
right.
They're comfortable, but their thinking gets limited.
Yeah.
Rich Dad argues that you need to develop the skills and mindset of all four quadrants to truly master the investing game.
There's a lot to process, but it's exciting. So are you saying we all need to become entrepreneurs to be successful investors?
Not necessarily starting your own business from scratch, but you need that entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay.
You need to be able to spot opportunities, assess risks, and build systems that generate cash flow. It's about thinking like a business owner, even if you're not running the day-to-day operations.
So becoming that inside investor, someone who creates the deals, not just participates in them, someone who understands the game from the inside out.
Exactly. And one of the key things Rich Dad emphasizes is the importance of having multiple financial statements.
Multiple financial statements?
Most people have just one, their personal financial statement. But sophisticated investors, they have multiple statements, often through businesses or other entities.
That sounds incredibly complex. Why is having multiple statements so important?
It's about harnessing the power of legal structures and tax advantages.
Okay.
Think of it like this. It's about protecting your assets, minimizing your taxes, and creating multiple streams of income. It's how the wealthy stay wealthy.
This is really eye-opening. It's like we're finally getting a peek behind the curtain, seeing how the real players operate. It's a lot to take in, but also incredibly empowering.
It is empowering, and it all boils down to that fundamental idea that Rich Dad keeps emphasizing: financial education. The more you understand about business investing and the entire financial system, the more control you have over your financial future.
And the less intimidating those 10 investor controls become.
Exactly.
But I have to be honest, reading those financial statements still sounds a bit like trying to decipher ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Any advice for those of us who aren't exactly accounting whizzes?
Well, Rich Dad has a really interesting take on this. He says that reading financial statements is like reading a biography of a company.
A biography. Okay, now that's an analogy I can get behind.
It's about looking beyond the raw numbers and understanding the story they tell.
Okay.
What's the company's mission? What are their strengths and weaknesses? Where do they see themselves in the future? It's about understanding their financial DNA.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. You wouldn't go into business with someone without getting to know them, right?
Right.
You want to understand their values, their track record, their vision. Financial statements are just a way to get to know a company on a deeper level.
Precisely. And just like getting to know a person takes time and effort, so does becoming financially literate.
Yeah.
It's a journey, not a destination.
It's like Rich Dad always says, investing is a plan, not a product. It's about creating a personalized strategy based on your own goals and risk tolerance.
And it's about constantly learning and adapting.
Right.
The financial world is always changing, so you need to be willing to keep learning and refining your skills.
And maybe making a few mistakes along the way. Rich Dad definitely didn't shy away from sharing his own investment blunders.
Exactly. He sees mistakes as valuable learning experiences. It's about having the resilience to bounce back from setbacks and the humility to learn from your mistakes.
And maybe a good financial advisor on speed dial, just in case.
Well, Rich Dad would probably say that even having a financial advisor doesn't let you off the hook when it comes to financial education. You still need to understand the fundamentals so you can ask the right questions and make informed decisions.
Absolutely. It's about being an active participant in your financial life, not just handing over the reins to someone else.
And that brings us to a really crucial point, the importance of taking control of your financial future. It's about moving from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance.
From I can't afford that to how can I afford that?
Precisely. It's about shifting your perspective from being a consumer of someone else's wealth to being a creator of your own.
And that, my friend, is a powerful place to be.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring to think about shifting that perspective from like, I can't to how can I? It's like a whole new way of looking at possibilities.
It really is about taking ownership of your financial destiny. Rich Dad talks about that 90-10 split, but he also makes it clear that it's not about, excluding anyone.
Right.
It's about empowering more people to join that 10% by shifting their mindset and their approach to money.
Yeah, it's like leveling up your financial game.
Exactly.
But honestly, it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and kind of lose sight of that bigger picture.
Yeah.
How do we stay focused on this path of becoming a sophisticated investor? Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. Right.
It's about building those positive financial habits one step at a time. Rich Dad talks about having a financial plan, but it's not just about setting it and forgetting it.
Right.
You need to review it regularly, adjust as needed, and make sure it aligns with your evolving goals.
So it's like having a roadmap, but you got to check in every now and then to make sure you're still on the right track. Maybe even adjust the route if you need to.
Exactly. And part of that is surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh.
Rich Dad talks about the importance of building a team of advisors, accountants, lawyers, mentors, people who can offer guidance and support along the way.
Okay, so we're talking about financial education, building a strong team, developing that sophisticated investor mindset. But what about those like once-in-a-lifetime opportunities? How do you know when to seize the moment, even if it feels a bit risky?
That's where intuition comes in, but it's not about blindly following your gut. It's about using your financial literacy to assess the risk and potential rewards, and then having the courage to make a move.
So it's about finding that balance between calculated risk and a little bit of that leap in the net will appear mentality.
You could say that. But remember, even those seemingly lucky breaks often go to those who have prepared themselves for success.
Right.
It's about being in the right place at the right time, but also having the skills and the knowledge to capitalize on the opportunity.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
Yes.
We've covered so much from, rewiring our money mindset to the power of financial literacy and building businesses that buy assets.
Yeah.
If we could leave our listener with just one key takeaway from Rich Dad, what would it be?
I think it would be this. The most important investment you can make is in your financial education. Knowledge plus action is where true wealth begins.
So true, because what's information without action? It's just a missed opportunity.
Exactly.
So to all our listeners out there, go out there, get curious, and start building your own path to financial freedom.
I love it.
That wraps up our deep dive into Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to take control of your financial future. And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. Keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep taking action.